All right, welcome back, members of the culture. I am Ra, and you are here. We're up for our final review of the day, which would be none other than the Beast, the OG Goro, the one that started off Storm Collectibles with Mortal Kombat, the OG Goro, because as you know, there is this one, and then there's the MKX version of Goro, an amazing figure that we will also one day bring to this channel. Mark my words on it. But before we get started on that, as we say with every video, if you, first of all, thank you for everyone that has liked, subscribed, shared, reposted, tweeted, followed, whatever it is you've done. If you've interacted with this channel in any way, shape, form, or fashion, we say thank you. We are trying to build a culture of like minded individuals that love this hobby. So without you, there is no us, and that means there is no culture. We can't do it without you. We appreciate your support in any way, shape, form, or fashion we can get it. Thank you so much. Please continue to share our message so that we can continue to push forward on our vision to build a culture that is inclusive of all members that love this great hobby. Thank you so much for that. As you all know, we're here for the last review of the day. We recently changed our review criteria. So Goro here is actually going to be first. We've had some people that have been rescored, like Kintaro, Death's Head, but Goro here did not get on the first go round of it. So he's actually getting the newly revised one. So he gets about as fair of a shake as I think you can get. There are a total of 20 points per 5 categories. That's a total of 100 that you can get. Those 5 categories are as follows: one, cool; two, articulation; three, price; four, display; and last but certainly not least, accessories. So, with that being said, let's go ahead and talk about OG Goro. And let me just go ahead and say I wanted this figure for so long. This is the one that started it all. Like, this was the very first Storm collectible I ever laid eyes on, was this particular Goro. And I said, man, one day I got to bring that to the channel. I got to have that. And lo and behold, we have. And we are so excited here. Shout out to Out of the Box Reviews for helping us with that. That is a really good guy. So if you're not checking him out, that is Out of the Box Reviews. He is on Instagram and YouTube. Check him out. Great content, great guy. All right. Now back to this review. We are going to kick it off with our number one category, which is cool. I don't think there's a lot of an explanation that really needs to go into this. Not a lot that needs to be said. You're looking at the same figure that I'm looking at. Is Goro cool? He's cool for so many reasons. Cooler than the other side of the pillow. And that's from if you remember his debut in the first Mortal Kombat, even though he beat the brakes off of 95% of the people he encountered, everybody was enamored, thought he was really awesome, frustrated, scared of him, but still thought he was awesome. And he was the best sub boss that you could have possibly encountered. He was just a nightmare to deal with back at that time. But as far as cool, he had the look, he had forearms, he had dragon like marks on his back, which this figure you can kind of see still does have it. A ponytail, like you'd never seen anything like Goro. He was cool then, and he's cool now. Max 20 points. Next up, articulation. Might get a little spicy here, folks. Might get a little spicy. Now, I say this again in all reference. I love this figure. I'm dead serious when I say that. So I take no pleasure in saying what I'm about to say now. The articulation is not bad, but it is a little bit tough. Now I'm on a slippery table, so it's hard to keep him standing up, but I am about to put hands on this figure. I need you all to pray for me while I do it. But nonetheless, in terms of articulation, this was their first one, and I said this in the last one as I got to Kintaro, who was his successor. Anytime you're doing something like repeatedly, you typically get better at it as you do it, right? The more you do it, the better you get. And in the case of these figures, Goro was the first of these big boss characters that they did for Mortal Kombat, and it shows, right? Great figure, don't get me wrong, but when it comes to articulation, he's not the easiest guy to get to stand up. You can't see it now, but you will. The feet are not as stable as Kintaro's would be once he got out. He's a very top heavy figure, drop down shoulders. Everything is single jointed on him. but he is a heavy, heavy, big figure, stand about 9.5 inches in height and top heavy. So posing him is not always the easiest thing in the world to do. And so, as I said, I'll show you what I'm talking about right here. These feet, these feet, let me try to get a close up. These feet are not the most stable of feet. And so they, when you're trying to get him to stand, it's like an exercise because if you're not careful, boom, he goes over. You try to get him to stand there. You have to distribute that weight evenly, and it's kind of a dance. If I had a better table, I mean, I do, but in terms of right now, I don't. I'm using this one. If I had a different table, it'd be excuse me, a little bit easier with which to stand him. But it is what it is. We're here, so we're going to make it work. So he's top heavy. That takes a little bit of getting used to. Again, when it comes to these characters and their heads, these larger figures have a double ball joint. So there's one that's at the top right here, and one goes down towards the middle of the chest. If you try to change heads, typically that whole thing's going to come out. It won't remain rooted like it does with a Marvel Legends or a DC Multiverse. It tends to come out. So don't let that scare you or dissuade you from taking the head off. If you need to change it, change it. But you'll have to insert it back down in where it goes to the chest, so like I guess the chest area, and then you'll have the other peg that you're accustomed to sitting on the top, like at his neck. It's just something to keep an eye out for. Once you've dealt with it one time, it's typically no longer an issue, but it does usually shock people. I know it did me the first time I encountered it because I didn't know about it, right? So that's just one thing to look out for. Outside of that, it's not that he doesn't articulate great. He does. He articulates fairly well with these arms, as it is. You can get him into some really cool poses. I wish I had an Art Lean figure so I could reenact that scene from the Mortal Kombat movie where, he does that. I guess I'll call the fatality. The movie was rated R, but still, he hit Art Lean in the chest. That's how Goro killed him, and Shang Tsung took his soul. If you remember the original movie, go look it up. You'll see his name was Art Lean, but Goro just held him in his arms. So I'm looking to get an Art Lean figure so that I can recreate that. And just like with Kintaro earlier, and it could just be me. Sometimes these storm figures will kind of. I was told that those hands tend to pop off. You have to get them on there really, really tight. I did not heat this up beforehand, so that could be my fault there. So I apologize in advance for that. But as a whole, these are really strong arms. And what I think I was about to say before I got cut off, I need to find an Art Lean figure so I can recreate that. I think that would be an awesome pose to reenact that moment from Mortal Kombat. I think that would be super cool. Very heavy figure, something to keep an eye out for, definitely. You can get him into, like I said, some bicep swivel, and these wrists and everything do spin around. Just be a little bit careful. But you can get him into some absolutely awesome poses. That leg does move up. I mean, for a guy that's 9.5, look at that. That big ugly foot gets all the way up there. He can kick your head off, right? Literally. Um, this one's a little tight, so I can, believe it or not, this does turn. I'll show you. And so that's just stiff. I've got to heat it up. I don't want to break anything. I just got him, right? Moves around, like I said, fairly well. He just needs a little heat and TLC, and I think this will be fine. He has drop down shoulders up here, not so much here. These are more or less fixed, but these do move, right? But he is an amazing figure. I just love this figure. I won't lie to you. Got the cool ponytail. Head does go side to side. Let me get my big hands out the way. Does go side to side. A little bit of up, not much on the down. Remember that ball peg, you can adjust it, but it is down into the chest. You'll see what I'm talking about once you get a hold of him. I'm going to keep a hold of Goro for just a second here. So in terms of articulation, you've kind of seen what I'm talking about. Oh, here's his back. I did promise you that. Dope, right? I'm assuming that's what the back of a dragon, a half human dragon, would look like. So for articulation, Goro scores 10 points. Next up, probably his weakest Achilles heel is his price. Oh my lord, this was the first one. I think Storm does not currently have the license to Mortal Kombat that I'm aware of, so they're not manufacturing them anymore. So typically when you get one, it's going to be aftermarket, and they are busting heads, folks. This figure averages $300. It's an unfortunate uh, thing with our capitalist society, but it is the truth. Supply demand. They no longer create it, so therefore somebody else can set the market price. Blah blah blah. You understand what I'm saying? You can find this figure sometimes for less online, but typically, even if you find him for under $200 on his own, the shipping alone will typically push him past the $200 mark. So his average, as I've seen, is about $300. So he is a bit pricey, but I mean, it is what it is. So price, he did get 10 points. Display, despite the issues you saw me saying around his ankles right here, you can't, if you got a different table than I'm using, you can get him on a different surface. He will stand. It takes a little effort. It's kind of a little balancing game that you learn to play with them over time. But he does display well. As I said, you could get another figure, put him in some poses, and I think he looks really, really cool. You can do some things, right? We just saw that kick goes all the way up in the air. Um, he displays, I think, really, really good. He looks intimidating, scary. I mean, it's Goro. It's like, what do you expect? Of course, we're going to bring in Kotal Khan so you can kind of see what I'm talking about here in terms of display. Goro's a big, beefy figure. He's going to tower over most of them, of the characters that he interacts with, unless they are sub-boss characters or boss in the case of Shao Kahn. So when you take it with a grain of salt when I talk about displaying well. He does display well, I think, within characters that are in his universe. Not saying he can't display with a Marvel Legend because they're going to be around a similar height. DC Multiverse will be about an inch or so taller than that. But he does display well. It's Goro. He's intimidating. He's meant to stand there and scare you, and he does do that. Display, he was able to get 20 points there. Last but not least, accessories. Storm, as I said, never cheats you on accessories. Goro here comes with more hands than you can shake a stick at, which is a really cool thing. He does have another head. He also has a different ponytail for some strange reason. I do not know why, but he does have another ponytail. He has a fireball. For some reason, he's a little bit like his accessories are not to the same degree that his successor is, which would be Kintaro, who comes with more. Kintaro's got that fireball, but he also has like the arms of Sub Zero and Sub Zero's head is split into two and all kinds of stuff like that. Remember, folks, when you're the first of something, it's a good thing and it's a bad thing. You get to make improvements on stuff, right? So while it is awesome that Goro was here and he was first, they definitely went out of their way on the next release to say, hey, let's add a few more accessories and kind of pack them out and make it worth their while. That's not to say this is not a good figure, but remember, as I said, when you're the first of something, improvements are usually made after the fact. So in terms of accessories, he didn't score bad. He did score 15 points, as opposed to the 20 that both Mataro and Kintaro, who each have more accessories than Goro did. They scored 20, he scored 15. So that gives Goro a total score of 75 points, which is a 7 out of 10, which is not bad. You know, this was their very first effort, and for their first effort, it was a hell of an effort. A great figure, in my opinion. 110% deserves a spot in your collection, deserves a spot in your bookcase if you can swing it. Because remember, we talked about that price. His price is a little bit high, but believe me, if you can get him, go out and get this figure. I mean, he deserves it based off the reputation alone. It's Goro, folks. It's Goro from Mortal Kombat. I mean, what else can you say about that? 75 total points, great figure. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that concludes our reviews for today. We have covered the Mortal Kombat Boss Mafia. Hopefully, we've done a good job for you, one that you're pleased with. And how do you feel about Goro? Same way we asked about Mataro and Kintaro. Let us know in the comments. Are you planning on getting Goro? Is it too rich for your blood? I can understand that if it is. If it's not, and you're like us and you're still on the hunt to find him, let us know in the comments if you plan on getting him, don't plan on getting him, whatever you think about this review or our channel in general. Please let us know because we feed off those comments so that we can continue to thrive and get better. Thank you all so much, as I said earlier, for all of your interactions. Thank you so much for watching. And until we meet again, please, 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 please continue to collect. Please continue to stay tuned. And above all, on behalf of everyone at the channel and my man Goro here, please stay great.